Hello, I'm Stephen Jerome, and I'm going to continue reading from my third novel, The London Year. This is part 107. Now, Terry and Colin are working on Plan B to get Finn's portrait of Sebastian into hiding in some way, because they want to steal the face after the really tragic suicide of Finn, the artist. Perhaps Plan B was no more sensible than Plan A, but by now Colin and I were committed on a mission. Dusk fell quickly to nighttime as we settled in to our rented transport van and slogged through rush hour traffic. It took us over an hour to get out of Greater London. Everything was made grim under the orange haze of sodium lamplight lining the motorways. I'd never seen such street lighting before and found it totally depressing. Even as the M10 wound its way northwest toward Oxford, then due west into Gloucestershire, the orange haze stayed with us mile after mile. Eventually, after 8 o'clock, Colin turned off the 4-lane highway, and we were soon down to 2-lane roads lined with trees and low stone walls. Every now and then I saw lights in the distance. Colin said that most of England's countryside was scattered with centuries-old grand houses. At one time, there were as many as 3,000. Now, he said, there's less than 1,000. All the really big ones, with hundreds of rooms, have been torn down or are practically government-owned, even with people living in them. They have to be open to the public to cover taxes. I asked about Francesca's place. Oh, it's not one of those enormous piles, if that's what you're thinking. It's still a private home. The current Baron has tenants who farm, raise pigs, and milk goats. It almost pays for itself, which is quite remarkable. Been in the family since Francesca's great-great-great-grandfather was awarded the estate in the 1780s. Georgian style outside with modern updates inside. I joke about the big paintings and the way of life, but really the house is doing what houses are supposed to do. It's a home, and formal, but generations, entire families have come and gone there. Quite remarkable when you think about it. I joke about the paintings and that way of life, but really the house is doing what houses are supposed to do. It's a home. It always has been. I was most surprised about that. I caught a wistfulness, as if Colin felt he'd missed out somehow. It only occurred to me then that I knew little of his background. Where exactly had he grown up? Was he from a big family or an only child? His aspirational airs, Finn wasn't wrong about that, suggested he was not from the manor born. He screamed public school, which is to say private school, but I doubted it was one of the right ones. It certainly didn't matter to Francesca, least of all their 12-year age difference. Mostly, Colin was a good egg, and obviously a damn good sport right alongside Francesca herself. He certainly didn't deserve to be financially ravaged by Sebastian. Finally, we turned off the main road, and in a few minutes came to a large open gate with a gatehouse, an actual small stone house with a slate roof at the entrance. Colin drove straight through, and we curved around a low hill when I saw the house up ahead. Colin was right. It wasn't a king's palace, more of a mansion, albeit an imposing one, with tall windows that spanned the wide 2-story facade. For all its Georgian stateliness, it actually had the feeling of a home. Perhaps it was the lights in some of the windows. A third floor was a combination of mansard roofs and smaller arched windows that jutted forward to align with the front facade. Driving into the wide gravel courtyard, I counted 5 wide steps leading up to the house's central front door. As we pulled to a stop, the door opened, and Francesca came out. It was the first time I'd seen her in trousers. Dark yellow capris at that, which tapered to the ankle. She wore a crisp white oversized shirt tucked in under a wide belt. Her hair, which was usually coiffed, now fell casually to her shoulders under a loosely draped Hermes silk square swept to the side instead of knotted beneath her chin. This wasn't the in-town Francesca I knew, suited up for London, or the Francesca of Finn's portrait, her likeness almost obscured by layers of history. This was the modern Baroness, informal and at ease. I hardly recognized her. "Welcome, darlings," she said. "Isn't this exciting?" Colin and I exchanged glances. Without admitting it, we'd both become entirely nervous about the wisdom of our little caprice. What we were doing was dodgy, probably illegal, and most likely futile. At this point, we were just making a statement. "Let me have a look," Francesca said, and we went round the back of the van. Colin swung open the two hinged doors, and there they were, each wrapped panel covered by a thick quilted moving blanket and strapped securely to the opposing walls. I was pleased and relieved to see them so well protected. Francesca was too. "Safe and sound," she said. "Now let's all go inside and have a cup of tea. You've had such a long drive. I've prepared a light supper. Jones and his fellows will take the panels into the sunroom." As she spoke, 3 men in workman's attire came around from the side of the house. How nice to have people to put things in places. I decided to put my own tensions aside and see how the other half, my Harrods customers, lived when they were at home. As we approached the open front door, I caught myself whistling Joni Mitchell. Everything comes and goes. She had a word for every occasion. I'm going to stop there. Thank you for following along.